Welcome to the Storytellers Showcase, where we showcase storytelling and storytellers. And today we have a real treat for you. My name's Mark Berry, I'm the host, and my guest today is I can't say enough good about Gloria. This is Gloria Jones. And Gloria is a wife and a mother and a grandmother, although she doesn't look old enough, and just an amazing person. And she's one of my very favorite storytellers. So Gloria, when did you first get the bug about storytelling?
I guess I've always been able to tell stories, and it just has always come naturally to me.
Since you were a young person?
Since I was very young, yes.
Great. And when did you start telling, like in front of an audience?
I would say it was about maybe 10 years ago. I did a story tell for Celebration Arts, and that's what kind of got this going.
Oh, I'm sure glad it did.
Oh, thank you.
And just in case people are curious, what do you do with storytelling these days?
I work with the Sacramento Storytellers, and I have done a couple of stories for them, and I continue to write on my own.
Great. Without any further ado, here is Gloria Jones.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it. Now, I'm going to tell two stories today. One is called Clean Sweep, and the second one is called Bus Stop. So I'll start with Clean Sweep as kind of a tribute to my middle son, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Ajani. This story takes place in the early 90s, let's say. The very early 90s. And it's that little time space between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That space of time where all the kids are excited because school is going to be out for so long. All the parents are worried and frazzled because things are going to pot at work. They're wondering how they're going to get these toys. What toy is that? Where does it come from? Why do they even want this? And am I going to be paying for it until June? It's the time of the year when the weather's kind of, well, back east anyway, where we were, the weather was getting a little snowy and icy. And altogether, it's just a time of challenges, shall we say. So, my story begins on an awful, awful week. It was a week where I was struggling. I'm here to tell you, nothing was going right? So, to begin with, the town I worked in was about 40-mile drive from where I lived. And we lived out in the boonies. We lived pretty far from town, and we were the last house on the right on a dead-end street that ended in a deep woods. Nobody came up that street. It was safe, you know, in the 90s, kids could play, all was well. But I tell you this, I tell you how this street was and how isolated we were, and I want you to keep that in mind because it is pertinent to the end of this story. Okay, so I drove to work, and sometimes, as we often are driving to work, I was feeling like I was going to be late. And wouldn't you know, cop pulls me over for speeding, and yes, I probably was because I was running late, and gives me a ticket. Okay, ticket, I can do this, It's just a ticket, you're going to be okay, Gloria. I get to work, and it starts to rain. And it's not just raining, it's pouring down. And I think, oh no. You know what rain means to a school teacher? It means that the little darlings are going to be inside for recess. And I was teaching 5th grade at the time. And much as I love those kids, it was not an easy day. Because if they're inside, you know what that means? That means, Miss Jones, he's got the checkers and he won't give them to me, and I can't find, where is the other game that we wanted to play last time it rained? Miss Jones, for the whole 45 minutes. So, that was time that I had planned to grade papers. So that time was lost. That put me behind. Deep sigh. The day goes on, and I'm told that in another day or two, the principal is going to come to observe my class. It just can't get any better than that, can it? Okay. I believe it was one of those early dismissal days because I remember getting home a little earlier than usual, and it was still daylight. So I get home, and I've got to face my 3. Now, those of you who are parents, and if you have more than one child, you know that there are times when all 3 of your children are peaceful and sweet and loving, and there's serenity in the house and all is well. But there are times when 2 of them are going bonkers, and you're like, oh my gosh. There are times when all 3 are going bonkers. You just don't know what's going to come out of each day. Well, on this particular day, my oldest, who was, he was getting to that age where he did a lot of, primping and hair combing and polishing shoes to make sure he looked just right. And my little one had discovered cursive writing, and she was enamored of it. I'm going to learn to write like you, Mommy. So she would take her little self into her room, and she would carefully write to learn cursive. Now, most kids these days don't want to learn cursive. They don't give a darn. They just don't. But she did, and I admired her for that. So that's 2 of my kids, 2 who are behaving sweetly, and there should be serenity in the house. But there was that 3rd one. Bless his heart. He was on a rampage. Now, I guess maybe it was that 8 or 9-year-old time of life when they begin to discover that they can be obnoxious, and they want to be as obnoxious as they can, because generally he was a pretty good little boy. But he was finding fault with everything. He didn't like the meals that we served at dinner. He didn't like the way the house looked. He didn't like the fact that his friends couldn't come over and spend the night. He didn't like the fact that he couldn't watch TV. He didn't like anything about life in general. And he blamed the family being mostly Mom. So I say to him, Ken, I want you to go and just clean your room and give me a little peace, because it's been a rough day and I kind of need a win if I can get one. So I want you to clean your room. He saunters around. He pouts. He is disagreeable. He is not pleasant. And so I say, Ken, I've had it. You're not going to soccer practice. How about that? You're not going to soccer practice tomorrow if you don't clean that room. Well, you know what? That little varmint stood there, 10 toes down, and he looked at me and said, I'm going to run away. I looked at him. I thought about it. I thought about the traffic ticket. I thought about the day I had had. I thought about the principal coming to look at my class in a few days. I thought about the fact that we as a family had gone to get the Christmas tree a couple nights ago. We lugged in that big old Christmas tree, and of course it had to be a real Christmas tree. Everybody wants a real Christmas tree, right? Well, we put that sucker up, and the next morning it gave birth to hundreds of little baby praying mantises all over my front room. I thought about these things, and I looked at him. I said, if you want to run away, I will pack you up, buddy. And I did. I got crackers and sandwich bread and Twinkies, and I put them in a dish towel, and I tied a little knot around it. And I don't know if you remember, but in the old days, they had pictures of hobos, and the hobos would have a stick, and they would put that, I put it on the back of some stick I found in the house, and I opened the door, and I bid him adieu. So he sauntered forth with his knapsack and left. And I said, bye. I knew he'd be okay. He couldn't go far. And there was nobody out there pretty much but us. So I took a deep breath and I thought, okay, Gloria, you've got to settle down. You've just sent your child out into the wild. Okay, I thought maybe I would feel a little better if I tried a new recipe. Yes, that will do it. I'll try a new recipe. Now, I don't know to this day what made me think a new recipe was going to help things, but that's what I did that day. I got the recipe book out, and I can still see that book in my mind. It was a book with Greek soups in it. Now, Greek soups are not the types of soups that my family generally eats, and I don't know what possessed me to try it, but I tried it that day. I organized all the ingredients, and I thought, oh, this is going to be, yeah, this will be good, and this will make me feel a little bit better. I'll have a success with this, and yeah, we're going to do this. So I start making the Greek soup, and it's kind of not coming out quite like I thought it would, but we're going to keep on anyway. So about that time, hubby drags in. Because now, like I said, it's that time between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it's rough for everybody. And hubby worked on a college campus, so of course it was rough for him. So he comes up, and I'm working on this soup, and he looks at me. He looks in the pot, and he says, was that Ken I saw walking down the street with the hobo thing on it? I said, yes, that's yes. And I kept stirring. He looked at the pot again. He looked at me again. His shoulders dropped, and he mentioned that he was going to eat at McDonald's, and he left. Fine. About 10 minutes after hubby left, Ken found his way back into the house. I guess his runaway was short-lived. So he walks in, and I say, you're still going to have to clean up that room. And you're still going to have to clean up that room, and if you don't, you will have no soccer practice. So get in there and clean up that room. So he goes into his room, and I can hear stuff being thrown around, and I can hear mumbling and things probably being said that shouldn't have been said. And then I felt or heard a crack, a big crack. I thought, what is that? And I went in his room, and I looked at him, and he was standing there holding the broom. But the broom was in two sections. He had broken the broom. Who breaks a broom? The look on his face was one of curiosity, a little bit of pride, and some confusion. I don't think he meant to break it. That's what he says now that he's over 40. Mom, I didn't really mean to break that broom. But he broke it. So I said, you know what? You are going to pay for the next broom. So you just get your allowance out. I don't care what you were getting ready to buy with that allowance, because when we go to the store, you are going to buy our next broom. Anyway, things finally calmed down, settled down, and the kids and I sat down to eat, and we ate TV dinners because the soup situation did not go well. And so, as we were eating, there was a knock on the door. And mind you, remember I told you we lived really out far? Nobody knocked on our door, especially in the evening, unless they had called to say, I'm coming to see you. No such call had been made. So I got up, and I went to answer the door, and I opened it, and there was a young man standing there. He was standing there holding a broom. He said, ma'am, I am here selling brooms, and these are some of the finest brooms that you have ever seen. Now, mind you, just 20 minutes ago, I told this kid he was going to buy the next broom. And God gave me the win I needed. He sent this man to the door. Well, the guy is going to tell me about his brooms and how good they are, about the bristles, and I still can't believe it. So I'm standing there laughing so hard, and the poor guy is trying to make the pitch for his brooms. I'm laughing and so the kids get up from the table because everybody wants to see what I'm laughing at. So when Ken comes around, he looks at the door at that guy holding that broom, and his eyes almost popped out of his head. When I could catch a breath, I looked at Ken and I go get your allowance, buddy, because you're going to buy this guy's broom. And the guy is standing there. I'm sure he was happy to sell a broom, but it was just the oddest thing that has ever happened that I can think of. And we still laugh about that. That's still a big family joke. The fact that Ajani breaks the broom, that Ken, we called him Ajani, Ken breaks the broom, and someone knocks on the door not 20 to 25 minutes later selling brooms. So I call this clean sweep. Because when I looked back on my day, I looked back on my week, I thought about the praying mantises in the front room. I thought about the ticket. I thought about the rainy day. And I thought, yeah, I had asked God to give me a win, and he did. Because that broom that came to our door that night swept all those bad feelings away. Thank you. Now, this next story. For this next story, I will have to become someone else. I will become Thelma. Now, how many of you have gotten on a plane or a bus or a train, anywhere, anytime, and someone has come to sit beside you who will not shut up? Well, I'm going to tell you about Thelma because Thelma doesn't really know how to shut up. She doesn't really know how to read the room. But she's a nice lady. She's a kind-hearted lady. She just likes to talk. Okay, so come with me in your imagination, and we're going to pretend that this is our bus stop. And at this bus stop, there is a bench. And on this bench sits a young lady with sunglasses, and she's holding her purse, and she's sitting there minding her business. Now, mind you, this is in the middle of July. It's one of those hot, blistering, bright days. The days when everybody is sweating and just trying hard to keep cool. But into the picture comes Thelma. Scooch over there, honey. Scooch over there. There's room enough on this bench for both of us. And as Thelma speaks, the young lady turns her head towards her, nods, and scoots over. So Thelma may be seated. Thelma continues. Oh my goodness, it's so hot. It's just hot. It's just hot here. I know this ought to make all of them folks that are sinners, it ought to make them think about sinning and what they're doing and how they don't want to go to a place that's no hotter than this, do they, honey? No. I knew you would agree with me. Oh my goodness, this is such a nice bus stop, though. Don't you like this nice bench? I just think it is so nice because you can sit here and you can look all over. You can look at the street over there. You can look at the street over there, and you can look straight ahead. It's just a nice place to sit. And so I'm just here and so glad to be with you so we can observe the people coming and going. Don't you think? Yes, well, oh, now don't look now, but don't you wonder how that lady over there squeezed all of those hips into that itty-bitty little skirt? I mean, and the skirt is going sideways too, the lines on it. I declare, I swear. Now, we didn't dress like that when I was young. No, we were properly, we covered all of ourselves. So, I mean, now, if she just bends over, everybody is going to see everything that she has to offer. I don't know what to say about that. But now, when you look at these folks, honey, you have to kind of not look directly at them, because if you turn your head, they can tell you looking at them, they can become very unpleasant about it. So we just sit here and look at the folks as they go by, see what they're doing, and oh, look now, right across the street. Now, don't turn your head or nothing, but those little girls in uniforms, they go to the Catholic schools. Yes, they do. And now you see that blonde one over there? Now see those highlights? Those highlights, they come out of a bottle. That's where they come from. She was not born with them highlights. You know what I saw her do? Well, I'm going to tell you what I saw her do last week. I saw her light up a cigarette. Yes, she did. She lit up a cigarette. She can't be no more than 12 or 14. And you know what? It wasn't a respectable cigarette either. It was one of those cigarettes that's twisted at the top and twisted at the bottom. Yes, what do you think the Pope would think about that? I don't think he would care for that one bit. No, and I know a fine little girl like you would never do anything like that. Oh my goodness, and oh my. Now don't look, Now you're really good at keeping your head straight because you don't want to look at them, but out the side of your face you could see that couple over there. Oh my goodness, I don't know what all they doing. Now my daughter told me, she said, "Oh Mom, that's just a PDA." And I says to her, "Well, what is a PDA? Is it just a personal disrespect, public disrespectful act? Because that's what it looks like to me. That man's gonna swallow that woman's whole face. Oh my goodness. And don't look at where the hands might be. No, we won't look over there. I tell you, you just see all kinds of things at this bus stop, and you just never know. Oh, don't look at the hands. No, we won't. But now I'm going to tell you this story then. This is the story that I have never told anybody. But I'm going to tell you because you look like such a nice little girl. And you might be sitting here one of these days and it might be getting on to dark. Because one day I was sitting here and it was getting on to dark. And now you see that alleyway straight across from us? Right, Greg? Yeah, that alleyway there's a pink awning there. Now, I don't know why anybody would paint an awning pink, but that's not none of our business, is it? At any rate, coming running out of that alley was a little man in his skivvies. Yes, as all he had on was his skivvies. And he was running for all he was worth. And I pulled out my mace because I'm a decent woman. And I thought, I don't know what kind of plans he had, but I wasn't going to be no part of them. But he ran up the street, and then right after him come a big woman running after him, big red-headed woman, and I thought, oh my goodness, she looks like she might be going to hurt that little man. And I started praying for the little man instead of praying against him. But they just went on down the street, and I don't know what happened, but I just thought I should tell you just in case you're sitting here by yourself sometime. Now what bus you say that was you was looking for bus number 6? Oh, well, I think that's it. It's coming right along. And what's that you getting out from under your chair? Is that, oh my goodness, is that one of them big white poles with the little red tip? You mean I've been sitting here talking to you all this time? And I've been thinking you was looking and you wasn't because you couldn't see, you was blind. Oh my goodness, honey. I am so sorry about that. What you say? You say it gave you a real good point of view? Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, here's your bus. It's pulling up. Now, you be careful, honey, because everybody at the next stop might not be as nice as me. Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Great job, Gloria.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's short.
Yeah, no, you did good.
Okay.
Thank you, Gloria. That was great fun. I love both of those stories. Even though I'd heard one before, I love hearing it again. It's like your favorite movie or your favorite song. You want to hear it again. So, thank you. That was Gloria Jones.
Thank you,
ladies and gentlemen. And yes, and once again, I am Mark Berry, the host, and in the credits is going to be my contact information. If you'd like to be on one of these programs, please contact me and let me know. If you would like links to other 8 or 9 shows that we have, contact me and I'll give you the links and you can watch those. Thank you for watching. Until next time.